This is the all sports tutorial. If you're a beginner for the category, this is a great place to start, as I will be showing off most of our beginner-friendly strategies, though I will also be throwing in some more advanced strategies besides it fits. There are a few things you should do before starting this category, which is just setting up a me that can skip all the text boxes, all the cutscenes. Here I have one set up that is called Joe, but you can see it in the guides in speedrun.com. If you were able to find this guide, you will probably be able to find that one as well. The other thing you should know are the exit rules. To know the exit rules, you should just look at the category rules, and it will let you know how quickly you can quit out. So without further ado, here are the gameplay tips, the actual tutorial. You should start your run with Frisbee Golf, and you should pick Classic B, as it is the fastest, no matter your skill level. There is one defining strategy for Frisbee Golf, which is called wipeout throw. This is how a normal throw looks like. It's forehand, meaning the back of your hand is facing the TV, and it's sort of pretty slow, it doesn't go very far. It looks very standard. Wipeout throws, on the other hand, look something like this. As you can see, it goes much faster, even without the north wind. And as we're doing the speedrun, this is obviously what we're aiming for. The way to do them is to first go backwards in a four-handed way, meaning the palm of your hand faces the TV. Then sort of tilt downwards, like this. Make a quick movement that where your wrist flicks upwards and where your arm goes forward. So I guess in slow motion it looks something like this. But in regular motion it's very hard to tell, but that's what we're doing. So yeah, that is the wipeout throw. The main way to tell if your wipeout throws are good is to see if they go fast and if they are tilted down when you throw them. Here is hole 14. Here, what you want to do is aim to the right and just do a wipeout throw and see if you can make it to the main island. Sometimes you'll not make it, sometimes you will make it, like here. I just happened to make it with a lucky bounce. But this is only 30 seconds into the speedrun, so if you miss the throw, you can simply restart. And that is the reason why we recommend starting with Frisbee Golf. From here, you just make a standard throw and you try to make it into the hole. Getting an albatross here is the best case scenario. The lowest score you can get, and what you should be aiming for is -7. A hole in one in hole 13, an albatross in hole 14, and an eagle in hole 15. But albatross is rare, and when you're starting out, just getting an eagle is a great accomplishment. Here in hole 15 again, you want to do wipeout throw, but you want to be aiming a bit to the right. You want your throw to land on the rough patch that is to the right. Let's see if I get it. It seems I released B a bit late, so I landed squarely in the middle of the fairway. You don't want to land in the fairway because, as you can see, there is a slope. And the slopes are bad because sometimes when you do wipeout throws, that happens. You crash into the floor. And so that's why we prefer in the rough, because you're in this position and there's nothing in front of you. So you just pretty much do another regular throw and try to see if you make it in. It seems I barely missed. You also need to take the wind into account, of course. I forgot to mention this before, but it is strongly recommended you play manual, because otherwise wipeout throws won't work. So that was Frisbee Golf. It has one dominant technique that takes a lot of practice to get right. Now in golf, you'll also want to go to Classic B. It is by far the fastest, and again, I would recommend it to anyone in any skill level. There are few strategies to talk about in golf, any specific strategies. But I guess if I had to mention one thing, it would be backspin. If you make a big backswing and stop your foreswing short, the foreswing is after you hit the ball, it'll have what is known as backspin, where the ball spins backwards. Especially in cases like this one, where you have northern facing wind, it's very useful to make a fast approach. This should be a good demonstration of what a backspin can do. As you can see, the ball rolls straight backwards.
Nice approach!
Here I will get what is known as a replay. If you land too close to the hole, or you make a chip in, you'll get a replay, which limits a lot of time, so you want to avoid it. Golf changes a lot depending on what wind you have. Here I will restart and see what wind I get so I can show you another strategy. Here I got east facing wind. And I got another pin. So I'll have to use a similar strategy but not exactly the same one. Golf is a lot about game knowledge. You need to play golf a lot to begin to understand the winds, understand the physics, and be able to make the best decisions. In hole 14, we have one main strategy that is similar to one in Frisbee Golf, where you sort of go through the trees. This one changes depending on what wind you have. If you have any southern facing wind like I have here, you want to aim for the gap in the trees that is right here, where I'm aiming at. However, if you have east-west or any north-facing wind, you want to aim around here, to the gap where the blue line in the minimap is facing. Here I have 12 south, so I will aim in the first gap.
Nice shot!
And just like that, you can make it through the trees. And then the second shot can be a bit tricky, but you just pretty much most of the time want to take the iron the game gives you, or you want to club up once and just make a throw for it. Sometimes you land in the bunker, like here, but that is not the end of the world. Landing in the bunker is generally a very small time loss of only 2 or 3 seconds at most. When you're in the bunker, you want to make a small throw that has some backspin, like that.
That's it!
And then you just try to sink the putts. Sinking putts, as you can see, can be challenging. It's one of the hard parts of golf as well. It also takes a lot of practice.
Good par!
In hole 15, we have another main strategy called tandem strat. As you can see, we have a river here, and pretty much what you want to do is to make a shot that is fully curved to the right, or otherwise aim to the right and land in the river. This is fast because landing in the river skips the entire animation of the ball landing and slowing down, and we can instantly throw again. From this position, once you land in the river, in pretty much every scenario, you want to club up once. As you can see here, I have the 7 iron, I club up to the 5 iron. And make a close to full shot. It can be a bit hard, sometimes you'll redline, but that is generally what you want to do. No matter the wind, what you want to do pretty much every time is just bend fully to the right. Sometimes you'll want to aim a bit to the right if you have very strong west winds. So yeah, you just try to sink this putt. And if you fail, you can take another shot at it, of course. That was a hard putt. And as soon as the ball disappears, you can quit out. Golf is one of the harder sports, which is why we try to play it second every time. But once you get good at it, it becomes more consistent than Frisbee Golf. The third most important sport is bowling. You want to aim for 9 strikes here. You want to get 9 strikes in the first 9 frames, and then hit the gutter in the 10th frame, twice. There are 3 main strategies to get strikes. I will show the slowest one first and the fastest one last. It's obviously preferable if you learn the fastest one, but if your usual throwing technique is closer to the other ones, there's no problem in that. The slower one involves sort of aiming here, just a bit to the left of the center triangle, and bending fully to the right. And that way you can get a strike. If you're a left-handed person, the strategies are the exact same, but they're flipped. So in that case, you would aim to the right side instead of the left side of the center triangle. The second strategy involves aiming just a bit to the left of the rightmost triangle and bending to the left. This one is a bit faster because you need to aim less. Let's see here if I can get a strike. Seems like I can now. This is not my preferred strategy. I'll do one more try to see if I can do it. There we go. That was the strategy. I promise it's consistent. And the last one involves aiming right down the center, sort of in between these two triangles, and throwing a straight shot. There, as you saw, it was a bit curved. The star ball makes the bend very clear. But if you make a very straight throw, you will see that you will get a strike. The safer way to do this strike setup is to aim, like stay still for a short amount of time and then throw. That was, I would say, a bit in slow motion, so I will make it a normal strike now. This is good, so you have time to react and time for one to go forwards and then, backwards and then forwards. But the very advanced strat is to cancel the aiming with a throw. So you never release the D-pad, you just throw instantaneously. It's much harder, it's faster, but it's much harder and definitely not recommended unless you're a very advanced player. So here in the 10th frame, what you want to do is, in the first shot, you just make a shot that is curved strongly to the right. And in the second shot, you want to aim towards the gutter, throw the ball, and as soon as it lands, you quit out. Then we have swordplay. Swordplay is a sport that has a bit of RNG, but it can be mitigated if you use a somewhat advanced strategy. Here first I will show you the most basic strategy, which is very simple. You just try to make regular slices, like this. In theory, doing this is the fastest way to do Duel, but you'll sometimes get blocked, and getting blocked generally loses time, and generally you get blocked in chains, which is bad. Here I got very lucky, but I will show you the safer yet slower strat. You want to do what is known as a guard cancel or a block cancel. What you do pretty much is like that. As you saw there, Fumiko was guarding my slices, yet they went through. This is because as soon as I was about to hit her, I pressed B, I pressed the block button. And this makes it so every single hit you make, you can hit her through, no matter where she's blocking. So again, I will show it off one more time. There. It's a bit slower. I would say this is 1 to 2 seconds compared to a perfect fight where you don't use block cancels, but it is also much safer. As soon as Fumiko falls or any me of your choosing falls, you can quit out. And so from here, I will do the sports in order, since the ordering now doesn't matter nearly as much. Here we have wakeboarding, and wakeboarding is a complete auto-scroller. You choose beginner, you pretty much need to mash A at all times until you actually begin. There is nothing you can do besides waiting 2 minutes for the timer to stop. For this reason, I recommend wakeboarding to go close to last. Or, alternatively, what I prefer to do is to have wakeboarding before the sports that require a nunchuck. So you can have all the time in the world to plug the nunchuck in. So I will do that, plug the nunchuck in, and since I'm not doing an actual run, just a tutorial, I will quit out. In a real run, you have to wait until the timer stops. So now on to archery. Here in archery, you need to be careful of this calibration screen. You want to click it and click cancel to skip it. Here you can choose either beginner or intermediate. It doesn't matter too much, I will choose intermediate, but you can choose beginner as well and it will make no difference at all. What you want to do here is miss. You want to press A, press C, aim downwards, like that, and throw straight down. It can be a bit tricky at times, sometimes you'll get jammed. It takes more practice than it seems. But that is what you want to do. My main advice here is to sort of make sure you're pressing C and that you're pressing A. Sometimes what I see people do is that they're mashing A, and you can tell here in the text box that it prevents you from actually shooting because you need to be pressing A to press C. So after you skip through the miss text box, make sure you're pressing A fully. Straight after you shoot the last arrow, you can quit out. Now on to basketball. Here the beginner strategy is to just throw baskets, I guess. You need to just throw the ball quickly. Like this. You don't need to make it in, it doesn't matter. You just need to throw quickly. But there is an advanced strategy I would like to show off, which is called jumpless, and it looks like this. What you want to do is just to press B, aim your controller straight down, and quickly flick it up and release B. Over the course of a 3-point contest, over the course of this split, doing jumpless baskets will save around 6 seconds. So while it's not required, if you can learn it, it's recommended. After you shoot the last basketball, you can just quit it. Now on to table tennis. Here in table tennis, there is a very important strategy you need to learn to play against the very first me, Cole. This is similar to golf, where you use backspin. It looks something like this. And here it's how it looks like. Sorry, wait a second. Is it calibrated? My controller calibrated? Here is how it looks like from the left side. So what goes on here? Let me just restart quickly so I can show you. What you want to do is aim your controller straight up. So if you're on the right side, you want to aim left and straight up. Throw the ball pressing A. And as the ball is about to reach the floor, you want to flick your wrist sort of 180 degrees towards the opposite direction. So if your controller here, in this case, it will be facing right, you want to flick it so it's facing left.
2-0.
Let me show it off once more. So here your controller is facing right and up. You throw the ball and you'll flick it so it's facing to the left and also down. You sort of want to do a flick of the wrist and a 90-degree motion facing down. It sounds complicated when I explain it like this, but it's actually much simpler than it looks. When Cole throws, you just need to throw to the other side, to the opposite side of where he's serving from. And this is very simple. You'll get the hang of this very quickly. You may notice that sometimes my ball bounces in the table itself,
For the win.
which is known as double table bounce. This is a more advanced strategy, you don't need to do it at all. But the best way to do it is to make the motions very slow. But don't worry about it, just doing backspin is more than enough. A double table bounce is saved less than a second. As soon as the second bounce tag shows in the last row, you can quit. Now onto power cruising. This is the first sport, and I guess the only sport, where there is a difference on the stage you select based on your experience level. If you're a beginner, I recommend beach. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't press the stamp button. This is a very straightforward course. You just want to boost as soon as the boost meter is up. You don't need to care about the rings. You sort of want to take a straight line, first a bit to the left. You can even get out of the course for a short amount of time, and sort of follow the line. While choosing beach, it's very hard to lose time. There are very few mistakes you can make. One of them is just, I guess, crashing into these things, but you can just very simply avoid them. You can take lines like this that cut out a bit of the course to save small amounts of time, but they're not needed because you can time out, and that can be a bit of a more challenging issue. So here you need to go through the ring and then you quit out. Beach is recommended for beginners, but it's not the fastest course. The fastest course is Shoals. It's a good 3 to 4 seconds faster, but it's also much harder, so I only recommend doing Shoals if you feel very confident in your power cruising. The only way you can make Shoals faster is by doing many skips that can be a bit risky. The first one starts here at the very beginning. As soon as the course starts, you want to take a big corner cut to the right. You'll just barely beat the counter. There is a problem here also with waves. You want to time your boost so that they happen just as you're going through the waves, because it maintains your high speed long. Here, instead of turning to the right following the course, you want to just aim straight forward. And you want to remain near the center of the course to force the rings to spawn. As you can see, they spawn very late. Here you want to make a very small corner cut and just finish the stages normally, going through a ring. The main reason why Shoals is much harder is that if you mess up this second skip, if you go too far left or if you cut out too much of the course, the rings will never spawn and you'll never be able to go through the final ring, and thus you'll lose a good 15 seconds trying to make the ring spawn. So only choose Shoals if you feel confident. A more middle of the road option that is a bit faster than beach, maybe 1 or 2 seconds faster than beach, and thus 1 or 2 seconds lower than Shoals, but it's also a bit easier, is Cavern. This one has more opportunities to make mistakes because you are in an enclosed space and it's easier to bump into things. And there are also many waves, and that can cause what is known as a boost cancel. As you saw there, if you boost just as the waves are throwing you upwards, you'll not get the boost, so you really want to avoid that. So now onto the serious attempts. At the beginning here, you want to avoid this first ring and just go to the left. It's safer to just go a bit out of the course to avoid hitting that first ring, the blue ring. Here you go as normal, and you stay to the right. And now you just pretty much follow the course as it is laid out to you. Now here's the next ring skip. You want to skip the blue ring again. And here you want to go in a straight line. You want to avoid everything. And here when you see this opening, you want to make this corner cut. It's much harder for the ring to not spawn. It's pretty much impossible. But making that corner cut, you need to be very attentive. Once you go through the ring, you can quit out. So that is power cruising. And you have a lot of options here. So if you feel like it, you can practice it a bit before doing the run and see where you feel confident enough to do Shoals or Cavern, or if you would prefer to do beach. Now onto canoeing. In canoeing, you want to pick beginner, no matter what your skill level is. It's the fastest and easiest. My main tip with canoeing is that you should hold a controller from the top. You should grab your controller with your two hands around the level of the D-pad, not from the bottom. Regarding the gameplay itself, you want your paddles to be slow but deep. It's much better to do paddles like this ones that I'm doing here than to do this. Because if you do this, you will not gain nearly as much momentum. So I will quickly restart to show off the best lines. As you can imagine, since this is a beginner, this is a pretty simple course. And here you want to take a very slight line towards the left. And since you see a 4 out of 10, you want to start turning farther right. But not too far because you have these lilies and they can slow you down. Once you cut the lilies, you just want to stay close to the right, or I mean to the left, and just cross the finish line. It is a short sport, but there is a lot of technical skill in it. You can do this up to 5 seconds or even more if you're a beginner, so don't feel bad about it at all if you don't get a 38. Getting a 30-second time should be your goal in my opinion. Now onto cycling. Cycling is another sport where you need to choose one specific course, and that is to the beach. To the beach is by far the fastest one. If you pick any other, if you pick for example around the island, you should just quit out and select to the beach. In cycling, each of your controllers refers to one foot. If you're left-handed, if I'm right-handed, so I'll talk from right-hand perspective, but as always it is flipped if you're left-handed. The remote represents the right foot and the nunchuck represents the left foot. So you want to rhythmically vary between them to get the most out of your stamina. But that is a bit of a hard thing to do, so if you want, you can shake both of your arms simultaneously. Though that is not as effective and will tire you out quicker. I will perform to the beach twice to show off the beginner strategies and the advanced strategies. The beginner strategies are very simple. You just need to pedal like normal and take the lines like normal. Occasionally you will have knees in front of you that you'll want to draft to get more stamina. But in general, you'll just want to avoid the rocks like that, take a tight turn, and just pedal. Here, you want to turn as far right as possible, and just before the bridge, you should have about 1 heart of stamina. Usually, you will have many knees from whom to draft off of, so you can recover some of your stamina here. Then, as you go out of the bridge, you want to turn right, then turn left, take optimal lines. As soon as you see this, you're going to make a tight turn to the right and pedal vigorously. Pedal once more, and before you fall off, pedal. And as soon as you land, pedal. That will save you a significant amount of time. When you are in upward facing slopes, you'll want to pedal more, and when you're in downward facing slopes, where you have strong wind pushing you forward, you'll want to pedal less. Generally, you will get first place around this point in the run, so you need to be more mindful with your stamina. Luckily, we have the wind pushing us forward, so we don't need to pedal as much. There is a tight turn, so I want to be facing far left, or turning far left I mean. You can see that I'm turning far left, depending on where my knee is facing, like that. You obviously don't want to face the rocks. Sometimes it can be hard, you want to stick to the left, but sometimes we need to turn to the right. Now we're close to the finish line, so you just want to turn left and stick to the left. If you have many hearts like I do here, you'll just want to waste them. And believe it or not, you can finish the race even if you don't go strictly through the finish line. You finish anyway. Now I will show off more advanced strategies for to the beach. This strategy is called power sliding. If you turn both your nunchuck and Wiimotes to your left or right, you'll do what is known as a power slide. You can think of it as something similar to drifting marker wheel. It looks like this. It allows you to turn much tighter, and it has a lot of uses. I would say it saves around 1 to 1.5 seconds. So very far from necessary, but if you're an advanced player, you may want to do that. And here I will show you the main spots where power sliding is advantageous. The beginning over here is like normal. You want to do your standard pedals. On average, you will boost after doing 6 pedals, but this will vary, so you need to be attentive of that. You want to turn right, and right here we'll see our very first power slide. In this section with the rocks, you have a very tight turn, and as you can see, you can make a tighter turn. Where the rocks spawn is RNG, so you will sometimes get unlucky like I got there. And here in this other tight turn, near the grass, you want to power slide again. When you're very close to the bridge, you want to power slide to make the tighter turn. That one has tight timing. If you power slide too early, your power slide will be very weak and it will not be effective at all. So you need to wait it out. This is another power slide. There is a tight turn. Pretty much every time there is a very tight turn, more than 90 degrees, you'll want to power slide. We have an upward facing slope, and we have a lot of stamina, so we can afford to do a lot of boosts. As always, you'll want to draft, but sometimes that is not possible. You'll need to manage your stamina effectively if that is the case. This part is as usual. I just do small pedals. Here you're facing upwards, so you want to curve more than the previous part on the beach. You want to power slide, sort of as soon as you see the fences, as you're aligned with the fences. You saw me there do a wheelie. That is not necessary at all. It sometimes happens to me due to the way we power slides, but it's, you shouldn't be aiming to do that. You should just be aiming to do a power slide. And here in the end, since we have a bit of a tight turn, we'll do another power slide. It can be a bit tricky. You'll sometimes bump against the wall, but it is good to do it anyway. As you saw, the very first case I got a 159, and here I got a 158, so it takes roughly a second. So as soon as you finish, you can quit out. You don't even need to wait for the finish text to appear. As soon as you cross the finish line, you can quit out. And now to the very final sport, skydiving. You are forced to do this sport last. There is one strategy, one advanced strategy that we call Gwen skip. But first I will do the most basic strategy to sort of show off how it looks like. What you want to do in skydiving is just face straight down. Just fall. Here we have the Wii remote jacket that is covering our knee, but now that you can see it left, you can see my knee has its arms squarely in its body, I guess. If you see your knee is like that, if you see it has sort of wind particles and its arms are facing to the side, it means that it's not falling optimally. So you need to be careful. You may need to adjust the way you're pointing the remote depending on camera changes. You'll see the countdown here. And since we didn't grab anyone, we'll get this small cutscene where this me called Gwen sort of makes a pose before she lets us drop down. So you just want to fall and wait for a photo to be taken. But now I will show off Gwen skip. There are many ways to do Gwen skip. I will show the two main ones. They're pretty much the same speed, so you can choose what you want. Here is the easier one in my opinion, where you aim a bit forward like this, and then you hold down. as soon as you grab another person. Controlling your falling from this point will be a bit harder, because as you can see, your camera is changing, and since the camera is changing, you'll need to change where your remote is pointing. Now I will show up the fastest way to do Gwen skip. It's a bit harder, and not at all necessary to do. It's also riskier. There is a bigger risk of failing if you do this one. What you want to do is face your knee backwards like this, and then fall straight down. Oh, that was unoptimal. As you saw, there were wind lines, which means my knee wasn't falling quickly. It was being stopped by air drag. So that was a bit unoptimal from my part. If you see it happening, you can try adjusting your direction. But once that is done, and once the camera stabilizes, you can just fall straight down, and it's not too challenging. If you're a PAL person, if you're from Europe, you'll see 300 meters instead of 900 feet. You shouldn't worry, it's the exact same speed. As you can see, the Gwen cutscene doesn't appear here, and you need to fall a lesser distance, so this is why Gwen skip saves time. As soon as the camera is red and it flashes, it's time, and your speedrun is over. So that is all sports, and that is the old sport speedrun. The speedrun tutorial, I mean. I hope this was useful to you, but if you have any questions, you can join the Discord. I will leave the link in the description. And I will also leave some other links to other things I mentioned and other useful links. Or if you have any other questions and you don't want to join the Discord, you can just leave a comment under this video and I'm more than happy to help out. So yeah, thank you for watching and I hope this helped.